Chris, first of all, thank you very much for these minutes, and I would like to know how do you feel here in Uruguay about the country, about the people, about the food.
I feel good. I mean, this is my second time coming here, so I'm a little accustomed to it. The people are all really nice, you know, and the food, it's okay.
And how was your first time when you come to Uruguay? Why did you arrive to Uruguay?
I came here last year to play for Big Y. Just came to play basketball. Um, I enjoyed it. My first experience was a little different because the seasons are the opposite. The temperatures in the seasons are the opposite of in where I live. So it was a little different. It was warm here and cold at home. That was the biggest adjustment I had to get used to.
And have you ever heard Uruguay before coming to this country to play basketball?
No, I knew a couple of people from Uruguay, but I'd never been here before.
And where have you played before coming to Uruguay to be one first time?
I've played in Israel, I've played in France, I've played in Spain, I've played in Germany, played in Japan, I've played in Korea.
And what differences do you find between our league and those leagues that you mentioned?
Every league is a little different. Every league has its own style. The biggest difference is, just the cultures. Every league is more suited to the cultures. For example, Asian cultures are more structured and robotic. Therefore, the basketball is a lot more structured than here, where the people have more imagination, and so they play like that.
And when was your first experience overseas?
First experience overseas was in Israel,
When was that?
2002.
And how old were you in that moment?
I was 22.
You traveled alone in that moment?
Yeah.
And how is it for a basketball player to go alone to play basketball in other parts of the world that you have no idea of the culture, of the food, of the people?
You get used to it. Some people have a hard time adjusting, but growing up playing AAU and traveling in college, and my family was in the military, so I traveled all the time, so I didn't really have a hard time adjusting to different cultures.
And I was talking yesterday to your wife, and she told me that last year you were here alone, and now you are with her and your child.
Yeah.
How important is for you to be with them here now? And was it difficult to be alone last year, and is there a big difference being
It's different. Last year I wasn't here for that long alone, so it was okay. It depends on the circumstances and where I'm going to, whether they travel with me or not.
And do you feel that people look at you maybe kind of something strange because you're a tall man? In Uruguay we are not that tall, you're a big man. When you go to the supermarket, when you walk on the street?
Sometimes, but you get used to it. Yeah, you have to understand that people aren't accustomed to certain things. People say the same thing when you're in America, like, man, you're tall or you're big. So, it's just not something that's normal, so you can't really take offense to it.
Here in Uruguay, people is very passionate, as you have seen in courts and outside the courts.
Yeah.
Aguada is one of the most popular teams here. When you walk on the street, people recognize you?
Yeah, and they tell you better win this game.
How does it make you feel? Has it that happened before in other country to you?
Yeah, I'm used to it. I played in a place in Spain for 5 years. It was an island, and the team was the only sports team in the island. So everywhere you went, and everybody you talked to, all they talked about was the team. So I've become accustomed to it.
Are you surprised with how people feel the games here, the crowd, how they shout and how they insult the judges and those sort of things?
Not really. Fans are passionate about their sports. When I watch West Virginia play football or basketball, I act the same way. So that's my university. So I understand how they feel.
Talking about now, yes, basketball. When did you realize you wanted to be a basketball player? How was your childhood? And
I played every sport when I was a child. Kids these days don't really do that as much. They focus on one sport, but growing up, we played every sport and tried to be the best you could at every sport. I just happened to grow tall and get better at basketball than the other sports.
in high school, you definitely started playing
Yeah.
basketball and only basketball?
Yeah, in high school, I played basketball, I wrestled, and I did volleyball. But after a while, the basketball coach told me you need to stick with basketball and leave the other things alone.
And when did you decide you would like to be a professional basketball player?
Sometime in college, after my first year in college
Where was the college for you?
at West Virginia University. I saw the guys who graduated before me were telling me, they play basketball now for a living. So I figured, it'd be a fun job to have.
And what did you study there?
I studied business management and communications.
Finish the career?
Yeah,
Congratulations then.
thank you.
So you are now kind of 12 years of career.
Yeah.
How many years would you like to play more?
I take it year by year. It depends on how my body feels and my mind feels. A lot of times people don't understand that your body can feel great, but mentally, you can't do it anymore. So, like eventually, you're going to get drained mentally. The action, the grind of not just the games, because that's all people see, but practices, the working out, being away from your family, all that. So every year now, I take it year by year to see how I feel and I talk to my family.
Do you have any plans of what would you like to do once basketball is finished for you?
Yeah, right now I'm about to start working on my master's. I'm gonna get a double master's, and I'm interested in getting into helping to train younger kids as well as a few other business opportunities in real estate as well.
Right. Going back to Aguada and basketball,
Yeah.
what are your personal goals for this year and what are the team goals for this year?
My personal goals this year is to help the team as much as possible and get healthy. The team goals, obviously, with Aguada, the goal is to win the championship. We've had some difficulties to start off with, obviously, and things haven't gone our way. We've had a lot of injuries this year. But I think as time goes on and the season goes on, that, we're going to be up at the top.
And how do you feel about your teammates, about the coach? What does Herman ask you to do special inside the court?
Herman asked me to read every game and, give what the team is missing. Sometimes they need more points. Sometimes they need more rebounds or defense. For example, yesterday they didn't really need any points. The other team was not as good as we were. So it was an opportunity for me to not play and let the other guys, score points and help work on their confidence. The team, I love all my teammates. They're all good guys. Everybody's really close. So even though on the outside people are kind of down on us right now because we have the injuries, we've only played like 5 games, and everyone's like acting like it's the end of the world. But we've all stuck together, and even the guys who are injured, they're all still in the family. We all talk every day.
And now you are in a difficult moment of the season, let's say, because no Martin, no Leandro.
Yeah.
You have 2 difficult games against Truville and against Malvin.
Yeah.
What does Robert Horsley means to you and for the team? Because sometimes I feel he in defense gives some advantages, and offensive he's sometimes irregular. What do you feel as a teammate?
I like Robert. Obviously there's no perfect player. If he was perfect, then he'd be in the NBA. But I mean, Robert, he plays hard. Sometimes I think people don't understand the concepts of what we do on defense. We have a plan that we execute. So sometimes, it might look like it's one person's fault, but it's not really their fault. He's doing exactly what the coach asked him to do. Offense, I mean, we're playing with no point guard now, so it's hard. There's nobody's penetrating, and he's a shooter, so nobody's penetrating the pass to him, so he has to create his own shot. The same with me, like there's no one, Martin's not there to, get you the basketball, so I mean, sometimes it's a lot more difficult.
Now that you mentioned, what can you tell me about Lucas? Because he, without wanting it, took the responsibility of being the point guard of the number one of the possible champions of the tournament. How do you feel about him?
Lucas is working really hard. He works hard every day in practice. I mean, he obviously, we miss Martin a lot, and he came here to be his backup, but he's doing the best he can. So, I mean, all you can do is tip your hat to him and say, all you can ask of someone is that they give it all. If they try as hard as they can, that's all you can ask.
And during the day, when you are not practicing indoor games, what do you do here in Uruguay? What does your wife do here in Uruguay? What does your child do
Yeah.
here in Uruguay?